The Illusion of Perception. Chapter 1. Breaking the Illusion. All right, let's get one thing straight. Reality isn't real. What you see, hear, believe. It's all one big, glorious dumpster fire of illusions stacked on top of half-truths, wrapped in a shiny package labeled normal. You think you're walking through life with your eyes wide open, but the truth is, you're not seeing the world. You're seeing what they want you to see. And yeah, by they, I mean the big players, governments, corporations, algorithms, and probably your Aunt Karen who keeps sharing conspiracy memes on Facebook. But don't freak out yet. You're not alone in this cosmic trick. Everyone's trapped in the same funhouse of warped mirrors. And trust me, the exit signs are fake. The goal of this book, to show you where the cracks are, so you can punch through the glass and see what's really going on. And yeah, it's gonna hurt a little. Truth is sharp like that. Let's start with the basics. Your brain. It's not a genius supercomputer. It's more like a drunk intern trying to organize filing cabinets during an earthquake. It takes raw sensory input, what you see, hear, touch, and filters it through layers of biases, shortcuts, and emotional baggage. Then it slaps a label on it and says, "Here, this is reality." Spoiler alert, it's not. It's just what your brain decided was good enough to get you through the day without walking into traffic or accidentally buying another NFT. But here's the real kicker. While your brain is busy creating its version of reality, there's an entire industry out there exploiting it. Politicians, media outlets, tech companies, they've all turned the art of perception manipulation into a billion-dollar business. They know how to push your buttons better than you do, and they've got the data to prove it. Algorithms feed you just the right headlines to keep you scrolling. Ads make you feel like buying their product is the key to happiness. Politicians sell you fear wrapped in a flag. It's all designed to keep you comfortable, distracted, and most importantly, obedient. And don't think you're immune. I don't care if you've got a PhD or a podcast, your brain can still be hacked. The only difference between you and the people blissfully unaware of it all is that you've picked up this book. Congrats, you're officially on the path to becoming a real pain in the ass for the powers that be. Here's the deal. Perception is power. It's the foundation of every decision you make, every belief you hold, every reality you live. If you don't control it, someone else will. This book is your roadmap to breaking free from the illusions that have been built around you. We're going to talk about how perception works, how it's exploited, and how to take it back. Is it going to be comfortable? Hell no. But do you really want to live your whole life as a pawn in someone else's game? No. Then let's crack some illusions and see the world for what it is, not what they've been telling you it should be. Let's do this. Chapter 2. The Anatomy of Perception. You might think you see the world as it is, a crisp, unfiltered reality. But what if I told you that everything you perceive is just an interpretation? That what you call reality is a carefully curated experience your brain stitches together, and it's riddled with shortcuts, biases, and blind spots. Your perception isn't a perfect window to the world. It's a lens, smudged, warped, and easily manipulated. It's built for survival, not truth. This isn't some abstract philosophical idea. It's how you navigate every decision, conversation, and belief. And understanding how perception works and how it's exploited is the first step to taking back control of your reality. How your brain constructs reality. Perception starts with your senses. Light hits your eyes, sound waves vibrate in your ears, and your skin registers heat or pressure. But here's the kicker. Your senses don't deliver reality. They deliver raw data, and your brain has to decide what it all means. Think of your brain as a film editor. It cuts, arranges, and edits millions of sensory inputs every second, stitching them into a coherent narrative. But like any good editor, it has its own biases, and not everything makes the final cut. The data is incomplete. Your senses can only capture a tiny fraction of what's out there. You're blind to ultraviolet light, deaf to ultrasonic sound, and oblivious to countless details your brain deems unimportant. The interpretation is personal. Your brain doesn't just process data, it interprets it based on your past experiences, cultural background, and even your mood. If you've ever misread someone's tone in a text message, you've felt this in action. The result is your reality. The world you perceive is not the world, it's your version of it. The filters that shape perception, your brain uses filters, mental shortcuts, to process the overwhelming flood of sensory information. These shortcuts are useful for survival, but they also create blind spots. Let's explore a few. Confirmation bias. Your brain loves to be right. It seeks out evidence that confirms your beliefs and ignores anything that contradicts them. Example: if you think a coworker is lazy, you'll notice every time they slack off and overlook the times they pull their weight. Emotional filters. Fear, anger, joy. Your emotions shape how you interpret events. They add color to your perception, but often distort the picture. Example: watch the news during a crisis, and your heightened fear will make every headline seem like proof the world is falling apart. Heuristics, mental shortcuts. Your brain takes the fastest route to a conclusion, even if it skips some facts along the way. Example: if it's been raining for a week, you might assume it'll never stop, even though logically, the weather doesn't work that way. How perception is hacked. Now here's the scary part. Those same shortcuts that help you survive also make you vulnerable. Politicians, marketers, media outlets, and tech companies all know how to exploit your perception. They don't need to change the truth. They just need to manipulate how you see it. Headlines that spark emotion. Ever notice how news articles lead with outrage or fear? That's by design. Emotional reactions bypass critical thinking, making you easier to sway. Algorithms that reinforce bias. Social media platforms feed you content you already agree with. Why? Because it keeps you engaged, and engagement equals profit. But this echo chamber distorts your view of reality, making it harder to see beyond your existing beliefs. Language that obscures truth. Words are chosen carefully to shape perception. Collateral damage sounds a lot less horrifying than innocent people killed, doesn't it? Why this matters. Perception is power. Every decision you make, every opinion you hold, every action you take, it all starts with how you see the world. If your perception is manipulated, so is your reality. But here's the good news. Once you understand how perception works, you can start to take it back. This chapter is your first step. We'll explore the mechanics of perception, expose the cracks in your reality, and show you how to spot when someone's pulling the strings. Because if you can see through the illusion, you can start living on your terms, not theirs. Let's dig deeper. Chapter 3. Language as a weapon. Language is power. It's how we communicate, how we connect, and most importantly, how we shape the world around us. But here's the catch. The same tool that can build bridges can also build cages. Words have a way of sneaking past your defenses, reshaping your reality without you even noticing. And those in power? They've been using language as a weapon for centuries. Let's be clear, this isn't just about fancy speeches or catchy slogans. It's about control. The words you hear, the phrases you repeat, the stories you believe, they all shape how you see the world. Language doesn't just describe reality, it defines it. Change the words, and you change the perception. Change the perception, and you control the narrative. The subtle art of manipulation. Think about how often words are used to soften the truth, obscure meaning, or guide your thoughts. Euphemisms. Collateral damage sounds clinical, almost harmless. But it's a euphemism for innocent people dying. Downsizing feels like a natural adjustment, but it's just a sanitized way to say mass layoffs. These aren't just words, they're anesthetics for your conscience. Reframing reality. Words can completely change how you perceive a situation. Example, compare protesters to rioters or freedom fighters to terrorists. The facts may not change, but the language shapes the story you believe. Overcomplication. Bureaucracies and corporations love jargon. Why? Because it makes simple truths harder to see. Example, instead of saying, "We lost your money," banks might say, "There was an unforeseen liquidity issue in market stabilization efforts." Confused? That's the point. George Carlin's take. When words become weapons. The late comedian George Carlin had this nailed decades ago. He didn't just make us laugh. He held up a mirror to how language is weaponized. Take his famous routine on euphemisms. Shell shock became battle fatigue, then operational exhaustion, and finally, post-traumatic stress disorder. Each phrase moved further from the visceral reality of war, turning it into something easier to ignore. Carlin wasn't just joking. He was issuing a warning. Language is a tool of control, and when those in power shape the words we use, they shape how we think. The digital age. Language at scale. In today's world, language manipulation has gone nuclear. The internet and social media have taken what was once a slow-moving process and turned it into a real-time experiment in mass perception control. Algorithms amplify manipulation. The language of outrage and division is rewarded with likes, shares, and views. Platforms don't care about truth. They care about engagement. And nothing engages like emotional, polarizing language. Example, a headline that says scientists debate climate data will get ignored, but global warming is a hoax, or climate deniers strike again will light up your feed. Echo chambers reinforce reality. Social media tailors your feed to reflect your beliefs. Over time, you're not just consuming information. You're living in a bubble of carefully chosen words designed to validate your worldview. The illusion of choice. You think you're seeing diverse opinions, but in reality, the language you're exposed to is filtered and curated. What you're reading is what they want you to read. Why language matters more than ever. Here's the thing. Language doesn't just shape how you see the world, it shapes how you act in it. If you believe the economy is stabilizing, you'll stay calm, even if it's crashing. If you believe a protest is violent, you'll condemn it, even if it's peaceful. Words don't just reflect reality, they create it. That's why controlling language is the first step in controlling perception. And controlling perception is the first step in controlling people. Breaking free from linguistic manipulation. So how do you fight back? How do you reclaim your perception when language is being weaponized against you? Here's the playbook. 1. Question the words. When you hear a term like collateral damage or stakeholder alignment, ask yourself, what's the plain truth they're trying to hide? 2. Look for the agenda. Language is rarely neutral. Who benefits from the way a story is being told? What's the desired reaction? 3. Demand precision. Don't accept vague, sanitized language. Push for clarity and specifics, especially in politics, media, and business. 4. Diversify your sources. Break out of your echo chamber. Expose yourself to different perspectives and watch how language shifts between them. 5. Use humor as a shield. Like George Carlin, learn to laugh at the absurdity of euphemisms and jargon. Humor has a way of cutting through the nonsense and bringing clarity. Final thought: the words you use matter. Language isn't just a tool, it's a battleground. Every word you use or accept shapes the world you live in. If you let others define the language, you let them define your reality. But if you take control of your words, you start taking control of your perception and your life. It's time to wake up to the power of language. Let's dig deeper and see what else they've been hiding behind their words. Chapter 4: Historical Distortions, Shaping Reality Through Time. The manipulation of perception isn't a new trick. It's an ancient game played by kings, priests, conquerors, and corporate executives alike. If you want to control a population, you don't need to build walls or wield swords. You just need to shape the story they believe about the world, themselves, and their place in it. History, as they say, is written by the victors. But what they don't say is how much of that history is rewritten, sanitized, or weaponized to serve the people in power. The art of historical manipulation. Let's start with the obvious. History isn't a perfect record of the past. It's a collection of narratives carefully curated to support a specific version of reality. Selective memory. Ever wonder why school history books focus on certain events while glossing over others? That's not by accident. Example: the American dream narrative glorifies opportunity and freedom, but often skips over systemic inequality, exploitation, and stolen land, glorifying the winners. Conquerors are often painted as heroes. Words like civilized and progress are used to justify colonization and oppression. Example: the British Empire's legacy is often romanticized in terms of railroads and trade, while the brutal exploitation and violence are downplayed. Erasing the losers. Those who challenge the system are often erased from history or vilified. Example: revolutions and uprisings are framed as chaotic, while systemic oppression that led to them is brushed aside. Propaganda. The ancient playbook. Propaganda isn't just a modern phenomenon. It's as old as power itself. Religious authority. Ancient rulers claimed divine rights to solidify their power. Pharaohs were gods on earth. Kings ruled by the grace of heaven. Effect: people didn't just obey out of fear. They believed rebellion was a sin. Monuments as messages. The pyramids, the Colosseum, and grand palaces weren't just architectural feats. They were psychological tools. They said, "Look at our power. Look at your place." Symbols of control. National flags, anthems, and monuments are modern extensions of this practice, shaping collective identity and allegiance. Media as the new weapon of history. Fast forward to the last century, and you find a new player in the manipulation game: mass media. State-controlled narratives. Governments weaponize media to control public opinion. Example: during World War II, propaganda posters told people what to think, feel, and fear, ensuring the population stayed in line. Corporate influence. In the post-war era, corporations co-opted this playbook, shaping consumer culture. Example: the rise of advertising created a narrative that happiness could be bought if you own the right car, house, or brand name product. Modern history. The digital spin cycle. Today, the tools for controlling perception have gone digital. The internet was supposed to democratize information, but instead, it's turbocharged the manipulation of narratives. Algorithmic gatekeeping. Social media platforms decide what you see, based not on truth, but on what keeps you scrolling. Effect: echo chambers reinforce distorted versions of history and reality. Deep fakes and misinformation. The rise of AI-generated content has made it harder than ever to distinguish truth from fabrication. Effect: historical facts are easily rewritten or erased entirely. Weaponizing nostalgia. Politicians and corporations romanticize the past to push agendas in the present. Example: the phrase "Make America Great Again" doesn't point to a specific time. It's a fabricated nostalgia for a past that was selectively curated. Why this matters: if you control the story of the past, you control the future. What people believe about history shapes their identity, their values, and their decisions. But here's the truth: history is messy, complex, and often uncomfortable. And the more you understand its distortions, the harder it is for anyone to manipulate your perception. Breaking free from historical illusions. So how do you reclaim history? 1. Question the source. Who benefits from this version of history? Who gets erased? Example: when a company brags about its long legacy, ask what they're leaving out, like labor exploitation or environmental harm. 2. Look beyond the headlines. Dig deeper than the first thing you're told. Most of the truth lies beneath the surface. Example: don't just read about Columbus discovering America. Read about the people who were already there. 3. Diversify your knowledge. Read books and watch documentaries from marginalized perspectives. History looks different depending on where you stand. 4. Embrace complexity. The past isn't black and white. It's a mosaic of truths, contradictions, and perspectives. Learn to sit with the uncomfortable parts. Closing thought. Write your own history. The stories you're told about the past aren't just history lessons, they're tools of control. By questioning these narratives, you take the first step toward reclaiming your perception and shaping your future. The question is, whose version of history will you believe, the one they hand you, or the one you uncover for yourself? Let's keep digging. There's more to this story. Chapter 5. Technology. The digital age of illusion. Welcome to the future, or at least the one they sold you. You've got endless information at your fingertips, an algorithm ready to guide your every decision, and a world that feels more connected than ever. But here's the twist. The same technology that promised to set you free is now the greatest tool for control. The internet was supposed to democratize knowledge, giving everyone a seat at the table. Instead, it's turned into a digital hall of mirrors, where your perception is manipulated by algorithms, curated feeds, and the endless pursuit of engagement. And you? You're not a customer, you're the product. The algorithm is the message. Marshall McLuhan famously said, "The medium is the message." Today, we've upgraded that to, the algorithm is the message. What's an algorithm really doing? It's not just showing you what you want to see, it's showing you what will keep you hooked. Example: you click on one article about climate change skepticism, and suddenly, your feed is filled with similar content. The algorithm isn't there to inform you. It's there to reinforce your biases. Echo chambers on steroids. Social media platforms feed you more of what you already believe, creating a bubble where your worldview feels validated and unchallenged. Effect: you're not seeing reality, you're seeing a version of it tailored just for you. The attention economy. Selling your perception. In the digital age, attention is the most valuable currency. Every click, like, and share adds to the bottom line of companies that profit from keeping you glued to your screen. Engagement at all costs. Outrage, fear, and emotional highs drive engagement, so platforms optimize for content that sparks these reactions. Example: headlines like, "You won't believe what happens next," or "The secret they don't want you to know," are designed to bypass your logic and grab your emotions. Data as a weapon. Every action you take online, every search, click, and pause is tracked, analyzed, and sold. Your habits, fears, and desires are packaged into data profiles that advertisers and political campaigns use to target you. Effect: you're being micro-manipulated in ways you can't even see. Social media, the new propaganda machine. Once upon a time, propaganda came from governments and big media. Now it's crowdsourced, amplified, and weaponized by social media. The viral illusion. Content doesn't go viral because it's true, it goes viral because it triggers an emotional response. Example: a fake news story spreads faster than a correction ever will because it's designed to provoke outrage or confirmation bias. Misinformation on demand. The internet makes it easier than ever to create and spread false narratives. From deepfakes to doctored headlines, the line between fact and fiction is blurrier than ever. The promise and the reality of big tech. Tech companies promise to connect us, to make life easier, to give us access to endless knowledge. And in some ways, they delivered. But at what cost? The price of convenience. Every time you let a smart device handle something for you, whether it's a Google search or a voice-activated assistant, you trade a little bit of autonomy for convenience. Effect. Over time, you stop questioning the answers you're given. The illusion of choice. On the surface, it looks like you have endless options. But those options are curated, filtered, and presented in a way designed to guide your decisions. Example: the next time you shop online, ask yourself, did I choose this, or was it chosen for me? Why this matters. The digital world isn't just a tool, it's an environment, one that shapes how you see, think, and act. If you don't understand how technology manipulates perception, you're not in control of your reality. Big tech is. How to reclaim your digital perception. 1. Audit your online environment. Look at your feed critically. Who's shaping the content you see? What emotions is it triggering? 2. Diversify your sources. Break out of your echo chamber. Follow people, publications, and perspectives that challenge your worldview. 3. Limit algorithmic control. Use tools to block tracking and ads. Take breaks from platforms that curate your experience for engagement. 4. Practice digital skepticism. Before you react to a headline or share a post, ask yourself, who benefits if I believe this? 5. Be intentional with your attention. Your attention is a resource. Spend it wisely. Don't give it away to content designed to provoke and manipulate. Closing thought. The fight for perception. The internet isn't going anywhere, and neither are the algorithms. But that doesn't mean you have to be a passive participant. Technology may shape the world, but it doesn't have to shape you, at least, not without your permission. The battle for perception is being fought on your screen every day. The question is, are you paying attention, or are you just another product of the attention economy? Let's keep going. There's more to uncover. Chapter 6. The psychology of why we're fooled. If technology is the weapon and language is the delivery system, your own brain is the battlefield. Every ad you click, every headline you believe, every opinion you hold, all of it starts and ends in the same place, your mind. And let me tell you, your brain is an easy mark. It's not your fault. Evolution built your mind for survival, not for navigating a world of social media, misinformation, and 24-hour news cycles. But that same brain, designed to keep you alive, is what makes you so susceptible to manipulation. The more you understand how your mind works, the less likely you are to fall for the tricks it plays on itself. Your brain, the ultimate shortcut machine. Here's the truth. Your brain is lazy. Processing every piece of information you encounter takes time and energy, so your mind developed shortcuts, called heuristics, to save effort. These shortcuts are useful, but they're also the cracks in your mental armor. Let's break down the ones they love to exploit. 1. Confirmation bias. Your brain loves to be right, so it seeks out evidence that supports what you already believe and ignores anything that doesn't. Example: if you believe a certain diet is the key to health, you'll notice every success story about it, but overlook evidence to the contrary. 2. Authority bias. You're wired to trust authority figures because, historically, they were the ones keeping you alive. But today, a suit, a lab coat, or a title can trick your brain into believing someone's credibility without question. Example: 9 out of 10 dentists recommend. Might sound convincing, but who are these dentists? And what are they being paid to recommend? 3. The bandwagon effect. If everyone else believes it, it must be true, right? Your brain values social belonging, so you're more likely to adopt the majority opinion, even if it's wrong. Example: viral trends, memes, and mass opinions can shape your perception without you even noticing. 4. The availability heuristic. Your brain prioritizes recent, vivid, or emotional experiences when making judgments. Example: you're more afraid of shark attacks than vending machine accidents, even though the latter is statistically deadlier. Why? Because sharks make headlines. Why fear works so well? If you've ever wondered why so much media thrives on fear, here's the answer. Fear hijacks your brain. It bypasses logic and goes straight to your survival instincts. The fear response. When you're scared, your amygdala, the brain's alarm system, kicks into high gear. It floods your system with adrenaline and cortisol, preparing you to fight, flee, or freeze. Effect: fear shuts down critical thinking and makes you reactive, which is perfect if someone wants to manipulate you. Fear in the media. Headlines like "Why Your Job is at Risk" or "Deadly New Threat Emerges" aren't just clickbait. They're psychological weapons designed to hijack your attention. Fear in politics. Fear-based rhetoric, "they're coming for your jobs," or "we need to protect our way of life," is a tried and true tactic for controlling perception. The comfort of certainty. Humans hate uncertainty. It's uncomfortable, stressful, and messy. That's why your brain craves simple answers, even when the truth is complex. Why simplicity sells. Black and white thinking feels safer than shades of gray. Example: this product will solve all your problems is easier to believe than "this might help a little," but there are no guarantees. The danger of certainty. When you cling to simple narratives, you become blind to nuance and easier to manipulate. How they exploit your psychology. Let's connect the dots. By understanding your brain's quirks, those in power have learned how to hack your perception. 1. They trigger your biases. Algorithms feed you content that aligns with your beliefs, reinforcing your confirmation bias. 2. They keep you scared. Fear-based messaging keeps you engaged and reactive, making you less likely to think critically. 3. They sell certainty. Simplified narratives, us versus them, good versus evil, are easier to sell and harder to resist. Breaking free from the mental trap. So, how do you stop being your own worst enemy? Here's the playbook. 1. Recognize the triggers. Notice when you're reacting emotionally, especially to fear or outrage. Pause and ask yourself, who benefits if I feel this way? 2. Challenge your biases. Actively seek out perspectives that challenge your beliefs. It's uncomfortable, but it's how you grow. 3. Embrace complexity. Accept that the world is messy. Resist the urge to oversimplify or cling to black and white thinking. 4. Take a breath. Fear makes you reactive. Practice mindfulness or simply take a moment to breathe before reacting to emotional stimuli. 5. Educate yourself. Learn about cognitive biases and how they work. The more you understand your brain's shortcuts, the less they can be exploited. Closing thought. Your brain is powerful, but vulnerable. Your mind is your greatest asset, but it's also a battlefield. Understanding how it works and how it's manipulated isn't just self-help, it's self-defense. The more aware you are of your own cognitive vulnerabilities, the less likely you are to fall for the trap set by those who profit from your perception. You can't change the way your brain evolved, but you can learn to work with it. And that starts with paying attention to how you think, not just what you think. Now that we've explored the inner workings of your mind, let's take a closer look at how this all plays out in the real world. Onward. Chapter 7. Breaking the illusion, reclaiming control over your reality. By now, you know the truth. Your perception is a construct, a filtered interpretation of reality that's easily influenced by systems, media, and even your own mind. But here's the good news. If perception is the battlefield, awareness is your weapon. You can take back control. Breaking the illusion isn't about throwing on a tinfoil hat or isolating yourself from the world. It's about learning to see clearly, questioning the narratives you're fed, recognizing manipulation when it happens, and creating a framework for thinking that puts you in the driver's seat. Step 1. Identify the manipulation. The first step in breaking free is spotting the tools of control. Ask yourself these questions every time you encounter information, whether it's a headline, a political speech, or even an ad. 1. Who benefits? Every narrative serves someone's agenda. Who gains power, money, or influence if you believe this? 2. What's the goal? Is the information trying to inform you or provoke you? Watch for emotional triggers like fear, outrage, or guilt. 3. What's missing? Manipulative narratives often omit key facts. Look for what's not being said as much as what is. 4. How does this make me feel? Emotional reactions are the easiest way to bypass critical thinking. If you're feeling angry, scared, or overly hopeful, stop and analyze why. Step 2. Challenge the narrative. Once you've identified the manipulation, the next step is to question it. This isn't about being contrarian for the sake of it. It's about finding the truth buried beneath the spin. Fact-check relentlessly. Look beyond the surface. Cross-reference information with reputable sources and consider alternative perspectives. Ask hard questions. Why is this being said now? Who controls the platform or medium spreading this information? Resist absolutes. Statements like everyone knows, or it's always been this way, are often red flags. Reality is rarely that simple. Step 3. Take control of your inputs. Your perception is shaped by what you consume, so curate your informational diet as carefully as you'd curate your meals. Diversify your sources. Avoid echo chambers. Seek out different viewpoints, even ones you disagree with, to challenge your biases. Limit algorithmic influence. Use tools to block trackers, reduce targeted ads, and escape the filter bubble. Slow down. Don't react immediately to headlines or emotional posts. Take time to process and verify before engaging. Step 4. Build critical thinking habits. Critical thinking isn't just a skill, it's a mindset. It's about approaching the world with curiosity and skepticism, balancing openness with analysis. Think in probabilities, not absolutes. Instead of asking, is this true or false? Ask, how likely is this to be true? Break things down. When faced with a complex idea, dissect it into smaller parts. What are the claims? What evidence supports them? Recognize your own biases. No one is immune to bias, but being aware of yours makes you harder to manipulate. Step 5. Reclaim your attention. In the attention economy, your focus is a commodity. Taking back control means deciding where and how to spend it. Practice digital minimalism. Reduce time on platforms designed to manipulate your attention. Be intentional with your time. Spend more time on activities that foster clarity, reading, journaling, meaningful conversations. Protect your mental space. Create boundaries to block out the constant noise of notifications, news cycles, and outrage culture. Step 6. Construct your own reality. Once you've broken the illusion, you have the power to build something better. Define your values. What do you stand for? What kind of world do you want to live in? Use these as your guiding principles for evaluating information and making decisions. Seek out truth, not comfort. The truth is often uncomfortable, but it's the foundation of meaningful action. Create a network of truth seekers. Surround yourself with people who value clarity, honesty, and growth. Collective accountability strengthens individual resilience. Why it's hard, but worth it. Let's be real. Breaking the illusion isn't easy. It requires effort, discomfort, and the willingness to confront truths you'd rather avoid. But the alternative, living as a pawn in someone else's game, isn't a life worth living. The more you practice these steps, the sharper your perception will become. You'll start to see the cracks in the narratives around you, recognize manipulation before it takes root, and take back control of your reality. Closing thought. Perception is power. Your perception is the lens through which you see the world. If someone else controls that lens, they control you. But the moment you reclaim it, when you start seeing the world as it is, not as they want you to see it, you take the first step toward true freedom. Breaking the illusion isn't just a skill. It's a responsibility. And it starts with you. Let's move forward and explore what comes next when you've taken back control of your perception. The Illusion of Perception, Chapter 8. The Cost of Seeing Clearly. Breaking free from the illusions that shape your perception sounds empowering, and it is. But let's not sugarcoat this. Clarity comes at a cost. Once you start seeing through the distortions, there's no going back. You're stepping into a reality where comfort gives way to complexity, and the neat answers you once relied on dissolve into uncertainty. It's not easy being awake in a world that thrives on complacency. You'll face resistance from others, from the systems you're trying to break free of, and even from yourself. But understanding these challenges is key to overcoming them, and the rewards for doing so are worth the struggle. The psychological resistance to clarity. 1. Cognitive dissonance. When the truth challenges your deeply held beliefs, your mind doesn't react kindly. You'll feel discomfort, anxiety, even anger. That's cognitive dissonance, your brain's way of saying, can't we just stick to what we already believe? Example, realizing that a brand, politician, or belief system you've supported is built on lies can feel like a personal attack. 2. The fear of alienation. Seeing the world differently often means seeing it alone. People who remain comfortable in the illusion might dismiss, ridicule, or reject your perspective. Effect, you risk being the odd one out in conversations, relationships, or communities. 3. The overwhelm of complexity. Clarity doesn't simplify things. It reveals how messy, nuanced, and interconnected reality truly is. For some, it's easier to cling to illusions than to navigate this complexity. Social pushback, the comfort of the crowd. Breaking from the collective illusion means stepping outside the tribe. And let's face it, humans are tribal creatures. The threat of nonconformity. Systems thrive on conformity. Whether it's a workplace, a political ideology, or a social group, stepping out of line makes you a target. Example, challenge a dominant narrative on social media and watch how quickly the crowd turns on you. Gaslighting from the system. When you start questioning the illusion, those in power will do everything they can to pull you back. They'll label you as misinformed, radical, or even dangerous. Effect: the system defends itself by making you doubt your clarity. The loneliness of awareness. The more you see, the harder it is to relate to those who still live inside the illusion. Conversations feel shallow. Social norms feel absurd. You might even start to resent the people around you for their complicity, or envy them for their ignorance. But here's the truth: loneliness is a temporary side effect of clarity, not its end state. The key is finding others who value truth as much as you do. Why it's worth it. So if clarity is so hard, why bother? Because the alternative, living in someone else's version of reality, isn't living at all. Here's what you gain when you break the illusion. 1. Freedom of thought. No more mindlessly following the crowd or accepting pre-packaged narratives. Clarity gives you the power to think for yourself. 2. Authenticity. When you see the world as it is, you can align your actions with your values, not someone else's agenda. 3. Deeper connections. Breaking the illusion lets you form relationships based on truth and shared purpose, not shallow social expectations. 4. Resilience. Once you understand how manipulation works, you become harder to control, harder to fool, and harder to break. How to stay grounded in the face of clarity. 1. Build your tribe. Find people who share your commitment to truth, even if their perspectives differ from yours. Honest dialogue is your anchor. 2. Practice self-compassion. Recognize that it's okay to feel overwhelmed, angry, or even disillusioned. These emotions are part of the process. 3. Stay curious. Clarity isn't about having all the answers. It's about asking better questions. Stay open to learning, even when it's uncomfortable. 4. Balance awareness with action. Don't let clarity paralyze you. Use your understanding to make meaningful changes, however small. Reframing the cost as an investment. Clarity might cost you comfort, conformity, and certainty, but it gives you power, purpose, and authenticity in return. It's not a loss. It's a trade. And it's one that pays dividends in ways illusions never can. Closing thought. The courage to see. Seeing clearly isn't for everyone. It's uncomfortable, lonely, and often exhausting. But if you're reading this, it means you're ready to take the leap. You're ready to step outside the illusion and into a reality where you control your perception, not the systems around you. The world will push back, but clarity isn't about changing the world overnight. It's about reclaiming your power, living authentically, and showing others that there's another way. Now that you understand the cost of clarity, let's talk about where you go from here. What does a life built on truth look like? Let's find out. Chapter 9. Constructing a new reality. So, you've broken the illusion. You've faced the discomfort of clarity, stepped out of the echo chambers, and seen the world as it really is. Now what? What do you do with this newfound understanding? Here's the thing. Breaking the illusion is just the beginning. If all you do is expose manipulation, you'll be left in a state of constant skepticism, a cynic standing outside the system, but never building anything better. That's not freedom. That's a different kind of prison. The real goal isn't just to deconstruct the illusions. It's to construct a new reality, one that's rooted in truth, authenticity, and empowerment. This chapter is about taking the pieces of your shattered perceptions and turning them into a framework for living with purpose and clarity. Step 1. Redefine your values. When you strip away the narratives you've been fed, what's left? What do you truly value? This is your foundation, your guiding compass as you navigate the world. Personal alignment. What beliefs and principles resonate with you, not because someone told you to believe them, but because they feel true? Example. Do you prioritize connection over competition? Growth over comfort? action over passivity? Define your core values. Clarity in decision-making. Use your values as a filter for making choices. If something doesn't align, it doesn't belong in your life. Step 2. Build your own narrative. For too long, your story has been written by others, corporations, politicians, algorithms. It's time to take the pen back. Define success on your terms. Forget the societal scripts that say success is about wealth, status, or consumption. What does a meaningful life look like to you? Own your story. Acknowledge the illusions you once believed and how you broke free. This isn't about regret, it's about empowerment. Example: I used to believe that working more hours made me valuable. Now I see that my worth isn't tied to my productivity. Step 3. Reclaim your community. Humans aren't meant to live in isolation, but the systems around us often turn us into disconnected individuals. Rebuilding a sense of community is essential for constructing a reality that works. Find your tribe. Seek out people who value truth, growth, and authenticity. These aren't just acquaintances, they're allies in creating a better way of living. Example: join groups focused on shared learning, activism, or personal development. Create shared purpose. Collaboration amplifies impact. Build networks that focus on solutions, not just critiques. Guard against tribalism. Even within communities, beware of falling into groupthink or ideological echo chambers. Encourage honest dialogue and healthy disagreement. Step 4. Reconnect with the present. When you're breaking down illusions, it's easy to get stuck in your head, analyzing, critiquing, questioning everything. But life happens in the here and now. Practice mindfulness. Ground yourself in the present moment to avoid getting lost in overthinking. Example: meditation, journaling, or simply taking time to notice your surroundings. Celebrate small wins. Constructing a new reality isn't an overnight process. Recognize and honor the small steps you take along the way. Step 5. Engage with the world on your terms. Breaking the illusion doesn't mean retreating from society. It means engaging with it intentionally, using your clarity to create positive change. Resist passivity. Don't just observe the world, participate in it. Vote, speak out, and support causes that align with your values. Be a builder, not just a critic. It's easy to point out what's broken. The harder, more meaningful work is creating something better. Example: instead of complaining about biased media, support independent journalism. Instead of criticizing social media, use it to share truth and connect authentically. Step 6. Create a legacy of clarity. The ultimate goal of breaking the illusion isn't just personal freedom, it's creating a ripple effect that inspires others to do the same. Be a guide. Share your journey. Help others recognize the illusions they're trapped in and support them as they break free. Example: mentor someone, start a discussion group, or create content that challenges mainstream narratives. Pass it on. Teach the next generation to question, to think critically, and to value truth over comfort. This isn't just about your life. It's about the legacy you leave behind. The beauty of a constructed reality. Here's the truth: no one lives in pure reality. Every perception, every belief, every action is part of a constructed narrative. But the difference between living in an illusion and living with clarity is who controls the construction. Is it built for you or by you? When you construct your own reality, you take ownership of your life. You decide what matters. You decide what's true. And in doing so, you free yourself from the systems that profit from your blind obedience. Closing thought: the power to build. Breaking the illusion is only half the battle. The real power lies in what you build once the illusion is gone. This is your chance to create a life that's not just free from manipulation, but rich with meaning, purpose, and truth. Your perception is your power. Use it wisely. Now, let's bring it all together in the final chapter, what it means to live fully awake in a world still asleep. Final chapter. Living awake in a sleeping world. All right, here we are at the edge of the rabbit hole. You've learned how perception is shaped, distorted, and weaponized against you. You've broken the illusion, rebuilt your framework for reality, and now you're standing in a world that's still running on lies, manipulation, and mass distraction. What's next? Here's the truth. The world isn't going to change overnight. Systems don't crumble because you woke up, and illusions don't shatter just because you stopped believing in them. But that doesn't matter, because the real revolution isn't about fixing the whole system. It's about fixing yourself. The wake-up call. Living awake in a sleeping world is a challenge. Most people are content with the dream, believing the narratives, following the rules, staying comfortable. You, on the other hand, know better. You see the cracks. And that knowledge comes with responsibility. Resist the urge to slip back. Comfort will call to you. It always does. The world will tempt you with distractions, easy answers, and the sweet relief of ignorance. Don't fall for it. Accept the lonely road. Not everyone is ready to wake up. Some will fight to stay in the illusion, and they'll resent you for challenging it. That's their journey, not yours. Be the lighthouse, not the storm. You've heard it before. The truth sets you free. But here's what they don't tell you. Freedom scares the hell out of people. When you start living authentically, questioning narratives, and rejecting the status quo, people will see you as a threat. The key is not to force them awake, but to shine as an example of what freedom looks like. Lead by living. Show, don't tell. Be the person who thinks critically, acts authentically, and chooses purpose over comfort. Let your life be the proof that there's another way. Don't waste energy on the unwilling. Some people will cling to the illusion no matter what. Don't waste your time trying to drag them out. Focus on those who are ready to see. Build your resilience. Living awake isn't just about seeing the truth. It's about surviving it. The world will push back, and you need to be ready. Guard your mental space. Clarity doesn't mean constant vigilance. Give yourself permission to rest, disconnect, and recharge. Stay humble. Just because you've broken one illusion doesn't mean you've escaped them all. Keep questioning, even yourself. Find joy in the journey. Don't let the weight of the world crush you. Laugh, love, and live fully. Seeing clearly doesn't mean you have to carry the world's burdens alone. The ripple effect. Every act of clarity creates a ripple. When you break free, you inspire others, whether they see it right away or not. You can't fix the world, but you can create small, meaningful shifts that grow over time. Small actions, big impact. Every time you question a narrative, choose truth over convenience, or help someone else see clearly, you're adding to the ripple. Legacy of awareness. Imagine a world where more people saw through the illusions, rejected manipulation, and lived authentically. Your choices today contribute to that future. Rick's final thought. Embrace the chaos. Build the meaning. All right, here's the deal, people. The world's a mess, and it always will be. That's the nature of reality. Chaos is baked into the universe. You can't control it, and you can't escape it, but you can learn to thrive in it. Living awake doesn't mean living in despair. It means seeing the chaos for what it is and deciding to build something meaningful anyway. It means rejecting the lies, the fear, and the noise, and choosing to live a life that's yours. So, stop waiting for someone else to fix things. Stop dreaming about utopias and perfect systems. They don't exist, and they never will. What does exist is the power you have right now to see clearly, to act boldly, and to live authentically. This is your moment. Take it, own it, and maybe, just maybe, help a few others wake up along the way. But don't shove it in their faces. Nobody likes that guy. All right, lecture over. Get out there, break the illusion, and make the most of the messy, beautiful chaos we call reality. And if you screw it up, well, at least you'll screw it up on your terms. Closing thought. The illusion ends here. Perception is power, but only if it's yours. The illusion ends where your awareness begins. Live wide awake. Live fully. And never stop questioning. The rest is up to you. Author's P.S. P.S. So, here we are. You've made it through the labyrinth of the illusion of perception, and I hope you're seeing the world a little differently, or maybe a lot differently. But here's the thing. Understanding the game isn't enough. You can't just see the cracks. You've got to decide what to do about them. Awareness without action, that's just another layer of illusion. The truth is, we can't wait for the system to fix itself. The people in charge aren't coming to save us. They're too busy blaming everyone else while clinging to power. But here's the good news. The system only works if we let it. If we choose to build something better, something real, they can't stop us. That's what the next book is all about. The New Rules of Power. It's a guide for those who refuse to sit on the sidelines. It's about creating a framework for life, business, and governance that works ethically, transparently, and sustainably. It's a blueprint for reclaiming control from the manipulators and decision-makers who failed us time and time again. So, if you're ready to stop being the pawn and start being the player, meet me there. Let's write the rules they don't want us to have. Let's take back control. See you on the other side.